Welcome everyone to episode 125 of Just Joshing and the start of year 3. I am your host, Joshua Pantalaresco. I write stuff and podcast too. Today, my guest is J.M. Landels. She is the awesome editor of Pulp Magazine, published in Canada. Really cool book. I cannot wait for you guys to hear this conversation. But first, wow, 2 years. 2 years, 124 episodes. I gotta just do this right off the bat. I want to thank everybody that's been on the show. And I mean everybody. It's been great. It's been a blast to be with each and every one of you and chat and learn all kinds of things. So yeah, thank you guys very much for being part of the show. But what's for year 3? What's going to be different for year 3? It's going to probably happen closer to the start of year 4. In fact, I already know my master plan with the podcast from here. I think at this point I have done enough that I can take this podcast to the next level, and that's going to be the goal. What's the next level, you asked? Well, a little bigger distribution, some more advertising, sponsorship. I want to see if I can actually make a little money doing this. I've been very content building my audience for the last few years, and by and large I get a lot of people listening to the show, which is great. And I appreciate each and every one. Thank you. I get hundreds of visits a week, lots of plays, lots of downloads, and it's phenomenal. So thank you guys. But now we're going to see if we get to the next level. You probably won't see the results till year 4. Right at the start of year 4, though, I promise. But the next steps are going to start to be taken. Speaking of, we're going to get to our conversation right after this new word from my sponsor. Hey! Well, not my sponsor, but about my next book. Coming October 17th as a paperback and available for pre-order where all electronic books are sold, that is Amazon, Kobo, etc., comes the final book in the Watcher saga, which began with The Watcher and Storm Dancer. The Wandering God, once again with illustrations by Florence Chan, is about the Watcher who receives a voice and vision of a city at the end of the world asking for help. And there his friends and himself go journey, overcoming their own doubts and trying to solve the mystery of the Wandering God. Can it get to him before the dragons get there first? Find out October 17th. I have turned the recorder on, so anything incriminating you'd like to say, I mean, at least make it good, okay? It was just, that you plotted something, you did something heinous, all right? If not, that's cool too. So, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm tired at this point. I've been doing a lot of interviews. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and you've been busy yourself, I take it.
Yeah, we just got back from launching my novel and the latest issues. So.
Yeah, cool. Congratulations on your novel.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the magazine came first?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask this, how did you... Okay, so first off, as I just said it off the air, it's a damn cool looking magazine.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also I'm a big sucker for pulp myself. I love some of those older stories like Doc Savage, Tarzan, Gore. Did I say that right? John Norman's series. I can't remember if I got the name exactly right on there, but I know John Norman wrote it.
Yeah.
E. Doc Smith is amazing stuff. So, where did you choose pulp deliberately, or just kind of fell into it? What happened there?
So pulp. The name pulp is an homage to those early pulp novels. Not so much the content, but the format and the accessibility, because they were cheap. They were kind of disposable, but not. They're collector's items now. So we wanted something that you could just read, put down, leave on a bus for somebody else to read. We want it to be, and that's also where good books for the price of a beer, because we wanted it to be something that I can have a beer or I can read a book. Or
both. Actually, ideally, it's a beer in one hand, and a book in the other. Yeah.
And actually, that is how the magazine was formed. The three of us, Susan Peters, Mel Anastasio, and myself, were all sitting on Mel's balcony on Bowen Island drinking beer.
Nice.
And I don't know if that's an advisable way to start a magazine, but that's how it's
You'd be amazed how many conversations for businesses came over about hey, how about doing a magazine? Sure, why not? Nice shirt. But anyway, But you're with good friends, and you guys decide, hey, we can do it, right?
Yeah, we decided we knew a lot of authors. I already knew C.C. Humphreys and J.J. Lee, who were the first feature authors we asked. And I figured, we knew enough authors that we could get some fairly decent names. And then we also knew a lot of emerging authors. And so once we had our feature author for the first issue set up, we just put out a submissions call. And,
floodgates probably opened there.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. The first submission was not overwhelming, but we got a lot of good stuff in.
Yeah.
And we were planning to only do one issue just to see how it would fly, so we ran a Kickstarter for that. We got so much good material, we decided that we can keep going with this.
Yeah.
I asked the way I put it when I got C.C. Humphrey's story for the first one. We'd been rehearsing for his a fight scene for his novel Shakespeare's Rebel, and we were in the pub afterwards. It always starts with beer. And I said, do you have any short stories? He doesn't really write short stories, but he did have one that was kind of, put away long before he did his novels, and he pulled that out, rewrote it, because he's a better writer now than he was before he did his novels, and we just loved it. So that got us started with that.
That's really cool. So how many issues have you done so far?
So this is issue 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, 4 a year?
4 a year, yeah.
4 years. So you're in year 4.
Well, we're actually almost. We're actually scheduling into 2018 now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, congratulations.
Thank you.
The magazine market today is really tough, and it's really cool to see something emerging again that looks that damn cool. And I saw it this weekend for the first time. Like, I have never seen this before. Why have I never seen this before? Because this is I love the old pulp stuff because it's fun. Again, stuff that you can read and enjoy. Like, it's a great escape, and then you just read it, enjoy it, and then you can put it down and you'd be like, it's fun. And if you're like me, you're neurotic about that stuff, and you collect all of that stuff, right? But so congratulations. So, did any of you guys have any background in designing a magazine when you guys got started, or?
I had a little bit of design background, and a little bit of publishing. And I was a freelance editor at the time, so there was that background. But it was a steep learning curve.
But,
I'm really pleased. Our very first designer was a woman by the name of oh my gosh, I'm just blanking.
It's okay, it happens.
Blanking on her name. Kirsten Call.
Okay.
Kirsten Call. Sorry. And she did the design. I sort of told her what I wanted. I gave her a few issues of fantasy and science fiction and Asimov's to look at, and she came up with the logo and the design. I chose the cover images, so I've been doing the cover acquisitions since then. And then we had Mel do the interior designs. She's an illustrator as well.
Yeah.
So I think that adds a big part of the book, is her beautiful pen and ink drawings.
Well, yeah. And the other thing, really cool thing, I'm looking at this now. Like I said, I've never seen it either up to this weekend. It feels like a book, which is what a lot of magazines, unfortunately, like when it comes to production values. Like, you look at Asimov and Fantasy, and by the way, they're great magazines in terms of content. They're amazing, but in terms of their production values, they're not where they should be. Yeah. But that feels like a book. That actually feels like. This feels like a book, and Eureka, it is a book.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very cool.
Well, Kirsten did a great job, and it was almost more beautiful than we wanted it to be, because we were kind of going for that pulp feel. But then once we saw it as gorgeous as it is, it's like, well, we're going to go with this.
But on the same token too, it's good to have a good high production standard, because you have to. Again, magazines are super tough in my industry, so you have to stand out however you can, and that's a really good way of doing it.
Yeah.
So you got subscriptions like here and online as well?
Yep.
Yeah. So how are the e-zines doing well for you?
Yeah, we started out, our first year we had about 30-70 ebook to print, and the e-subscriptions are now up to about 45%. Whereas there's still a big demand for print. Like people like the print.
Yeah.
Because
it's tactile.
Yeah.
It's very, very tactile, and there's something to be said about holding a book in your hands. That actually is a very cool feeling. I mean, but on the same token, it's also handy to have the access to, like, hey, I can read this on my phone, and it's cool and stuff too. But I mean, and the beautiful thing about that is you can do both, and they're both very comfortable, which is awesome.
And with our ebook subscriptions, if you subscribe, you get both the EPUB and Mobi, and actually you get a PDF as well, so that you can actually see it laid out as the actual book.
Which next to creating the actual experience itself is really cool. Yeah. So kudos to, I guess, your brain trust all the way around for coming up with all this stuff. So are you the editor in chief, or are you an acquisitions editor? What's your official title?
I'm the managing editor.
You're managing editor.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to be evil. I'm going to be evil. Of the issues currently out, I know it's like picking children. You're like, so which stories have, like, good stories really grabbed you?
That is like
picking children. Yeah.
Like I have so many favorite issues for so many different reasons. Like this current issue, I just love for the cover, which you can't see on a podcast, but it's a beautiful cover of a.
We might be able to make something happen in regards to that. Yeah.
So, you got an African American woman dressed in medieval armor. It's just, that. I love it for that. And Brenda Carr's story, has just got an amazing voice. But I love both of the issues that we had C.C. Humphreys in. Having him write literary fiction is such a treat. And, I love his historical stuff and his YA stuff, but this is just so different. And one of my favorite stories is The Salt Tour by Joan McLeod, way back in issue 3. Joan McLeod's a Governor General award-winning playwright. She gave us a sort of historical 1970s based
nice
travels in Europe, and it's just beautifully written in it.
So you say this is is it more like a literary genre kind of what you're going for in this, or is this like anything? Anything? Yeah.
Like we have there's one really great science fiction one from Julian Mortimer Smith. That's in issue 8, and in that same issue, J.J. Lee, who is a memoirist, gave us a story with Nazis, Cthulhu, and Santa Claus.
I love it.
All in the same. It's brilliant.
No. I love it now. I like that. So my kind of stuff that I write is a little. My first novel is going to be coming out in November, and it's called The Cloud Diver. And the idea is The Matrix meets Indiana Jones.
Right.
So I have everything in there, including dragons, zombie monsters, unicorns with part rainbows. It's a gamut. So I love mashups. They're just a lot of fun.
Well, issue 8 is the issue for you then.
Yeah. Okay. So she is trying to sell me a book on the air, ladies and gentlemen. She might have succeeded. We will see. So I'm assuming you wanted to be a writer first.
Yes.
So with you, before we get to your book, did you prior to the magazine? Like, do you have any other credits or things you've done?
I was doing nonfiction, writing articles and stuff like that. I did have a novel, and the three of us all had novels that we were, getting ready, trying to flog, looking for agents, editors. So one of the ways we kept the magazine affordable is that we have put our own content in there. So I serialized my novel in the back. So in the back of every issue, or almost every issue, you'll find a chapter of a novel. So this novel goes up to issue 11, and then take a break, and then this year the sequel is being serialized. So that's one of the ways we managed to afford.
Yeah, you put your.
Because we do pay well, like we pay up to 7 cents a word, which is not bad in this market.
No.
So we wouldn't be able to fill all those pages at 7 cents a word if we didn't.
Well,
put something else.
no. There are costs. I mean, now when you get your magazine gets to the point where you sell a zillion copies, and then at that point, like, we can do what we want. But but until you get there, you have to grow slowly. And it sounds like you're growing slowly. You're growing. So that's really cool. So then did the editing come like when you got into the magazine, or have you done other edited stuff?
I had done editing before that.
What, if you don't mind?
I was mostly, I was museum curator at Academy Duello, so I was editing all the plaques and all their background material. I did editing for the Childbearing Society, and I did a freelance stuff, like just people's stories or whatever that they wanted edits on. Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So, my question, obviously, I'm not asking you to choose between novelist and editor for this magazine, because somehow I feel that at that point you might want to strangle me. But I feel though that, like, you obviously want to do more novel stuff. I kind of get that sense for you. So, is the goals with your novels just primarily this trilogy and kind of going from there when you get to the other side, or because
I'm still writing, I've finished the second and third books. I need to edit them still, and they need work. I've got first draft of a historical fantasy, so I'm writing all the way through.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also really love putting the magazine together.
Well, it satisfies a very neat itch, because you're actually it's the closest thing a writer can get to actually drawing. If they're not doing in a pure literary sense, because you're not taking pen and page to put drawing something together, you're literally constructing a document from top to bottom. So you're looking at stuff like white space, you're looking at stuff like thirds, fourths, and quarters. And anyone that has never done a magazine, right? There are certain design rules in magazines, and they're universal, but most people never notice. Good design, if it's done well, you almost will never get a compliment on it, because no one's noticing it, which is what design's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But however, if it's bad, everybody tells you.
And I have to say, I can't take credit for the layout and design. I mean, I choose the cover images, but our current layout person is Chris Sayer, and she does a beautiful job.
So do you guys do like theme months?
No.
No. Would that ever be something that you do?
No, because our whole mandate is that we want the mix of genres. So,
okay.
Like, sometimes we do get, like, often the autumn issue will have a little more supernatural or creepy, sort of.
It just kind of works.
Like, this one works for autumn.
But so basically, so the autumn issues kind of developed a little bit of its own identity. Is that the right way to put that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And they all do. Like, I mean, if we have a story that's obviously a winter story, we're going to save it for the winter issue.
It makes sense.
And so I guess seasonally we do have that sort of a theme.
So guys, if you want to submit for the spring issue, write something in the springtime. Gotcha. Yeah. But no, I understand. It does make sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just a natural flow with what everything does. So. So you're going to come on the 5 years next year.
Yep.
So what's the biggest thing you've learned doing the magazine?
Oh, let's see.
It's a big question.
Time management.
No, absolutely.
Time management. It's for me, because I've really had to learn to delegate a lot, because I do most of the business end of the magazine. I've had to learn to really let go of the editing side, the developmental editing, let other editors do that. Mel does most of the acquisitions, so that's great. So I only really look at the few stories that she selects, and we kind of make the final decision based on a smaller scope. I mean, it's been great actually putting it together, and we had always intended to move into novels eventually anyway, and using the magazine as sort of
platform.
And a proving ground to see how we could do it. What I've realized that in some ways a magazine is harder than a novel.
Absolutely.
Because even though it may be shorter, you're dealing with 6 or 8 authors and contracts for all those authors, and it's all these little bits and pieces.
The thing about a novel is, don't get me wrong, you still have editors, you still have people that help you, but essentially it's your baby. Now, the moment you involve anybody else into a project, it's also their baby. So now, again, you might have the final say because you are the one putting the bill at the end of the day, but that doesn't mean that, say, I'm just going to give an example here. Soto, I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he might have a suggestion about his story, and it might be a very her. So, okay, there you go. I knew I was gonna mess up somewhere in there, but she might have a suggestion about her story, and it might be a valid one. But you're like, okay, but collaborations are awesome too. And the flip side to that though is, collaborations are awesome because what inevitably happens is, people that come in with their own expertise bring something to the table you don't have, which is always really neat because you learn stuff from that, and do it often better than you imagine they would. Like, especially from the designer point of view, it sounds like that's what happened there, especially. So.
Well, and the interesting thing about working with a lot of different authors is that authors are very different. Usually, the more experienced the author is, the more willing they are to let go of the story.
Yeah.
And they'll just accept all your edits. The more new the author is, the more they kind of want to go back and forth on the edits a lot. And that's fine because part of our mandate too is to help bring along new authors. So that process of going back and forth is helpful for them, and eventually helpful for the story. It's like we have had an author that we ended up publishing the story without the edits we wanted, and I believe it's not as good a story as it could have been, but it's still a good story.
Yeah. It was good. It was good enough to get. It was good enough to get into the magazine. It's just not quite what you were.
Yeah, I thought it could have been better, but at the end of the day, it is the author's story.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion versus his opinion. It's not.
Good is a relative concept. Yeah. It really is. How do you define good? But sometimes, but like I said, I've done some stuff on the freelance, and just as a general rule of thumb, I always look at the end of the day. You're the one putting it out there, not me. And if that's the case, I will. There are things I may fight for if I feel like it will change the story dramatically. Mm-hmm. But by and large, you want to change this tense, right? Okay. Yeah. Sure, cool, right, whatever. You're the boss.
Yeah.
But that does come with practice and time as well. So.
And it just depends on the author too. And we do use Google Docs for editing. So the way we edit is we've got the document up there on Google Docs. We put our edits in suggestion mode. The author comes through, accepts or rejects those suggestions, puts their own edits in suggestion mode. Say, if it's not like just a clear suggestion, like this part needs rewriting, can you do this? Then they'll put that in, so that we can always track and always see. So it's always going back, and it's instant. It's not like in the old days where you had to, mail something with sticky notes on it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot better. I use Google Docs myself. So my publisher for my poetry series, basically. So I have this giant 230-page epic poem for the final book of the series. She's like, okay, so change all this stuff. Sometimes you get in there, it's like, that page is so red. Mm-hmm. How did it get so red? Then you're like, this suggestion, okay. Nope, okay. Bop, 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 bop. Let me think about that one. Bop, 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 bop. And then that's what happens there, right? But it's part of what makes collaboration so good too, because again, writers need another set of eyes. We all do, because because we're all blind to. I might be aware of my flaws. That doesn't necessarily mean when I write them, I'm going to catch all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and something you've written yourself, you can have a repeated word, like 2 thes in a row or something, and your eye just skims right past that.
I've gotten better at that. You get a little better at that, but you're like, I saw these. I'm awesome. But how did I miss this? Yeah.
And print makes a difference too. So the very last proof that happens is when I get the print proof, and then I actually read the magazine cover to cover, all the masthead, all the end credits, everything. And I almost always catch something that has missed all the editor's eyes, the copy editor, the proofreader.
Yes.
It's been seen already, and
I'll give you a funny story. I used to work for a guy by the name of James Aon. He had a magazine called Copper Barrel Literary International, no, Copper Literary Magazine. So, copy editor looked at it, the editor looked at it. Everybody looked at this. So go to the cover. We see it in print for like officially on sale. Copper Barrel Literary Magazine, and it was just one of those. Again, everybody for whatever reason, that error snuck by everybody, and you just see it in real life. You're like, oh hell.
Oh yeah, I've got a friend who writes sword fighting manuals. Guy Windsor. One of his books came out with his name misspelled on the spine.
Yep.
Like got through.
It happens. And it's just like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
No.
But it goes to show you that there's no such thing as a perfect print either. Right. And so, that's an interesting one. Do you think every issue's gotten better in terms of not necessarily the story content, because I feel each issue brings its own flavor to it, but more like in terms of of how you put it together, how consistent the values are. Like are you getting? Is it getting better, or do you feel like it's the same, or?
Yeah, the proofreading I think is because we have added proofreaders after the first few issues, but it's been fairly, I'd say after issue 4 it got pretty consistently clean. There's every once in a while you find an error that's like oops, but it's been pretty consistent since about issue 5 onward, just because that's when we had all our copy editor and proofreading team sort of in place, and they've been awesome.
That's all? Yeah.
And sometimes there's like some issues are just more rushed than others, so sometimes we are just backs against the wall, and those are the ones where stuff gets through, but usually we catch it by that final print proof.
And like I said, it's part of the business too. Like things happen. It's like and you just have to adjust and roll the punches accordingly, which is again perfectly normal part of the deal.
And I have to admit, I've actually gotten better at like relaxing about those things too. It's like, these things that,
it's funny. I just had this conversation like when mistakes happen or when things happen and you go through those things, the hammer of it goes away a little bit. It's like, don't get me wrong, you don't want to go through that again, but you're like, on the same token, I've been here before. It doesn't really scare me per se anymore. It's like, okay, you know what? We'll get through this. I'll have that odd moment where I'm gonna curse, and then I'm good. I'm good. So, what's your favorite? I gotta ask this. What's your favorite brand of beer?
Oh, I don't know about brand. I tend to like, depending on the season. Like in the winter, I like dark oatmeal stout.
Yep.
Those sorts of things. In the summer, I tend to like wheat beer and like Belgian wheat, and I just love craft beer. There's a lot of craft beer.
Absolutely. They're all over the place now. It's really good. When I go stateside, because as we are well aware, the quality of regular alcohol there isn't up to my urine content, let alone what we drink here. But it's one of those things where now they have a lot of microbreweries down there too, and they're just as good and they're just as amazing as up here. It's a really cool alchemy. I think that whole deal. So besides literature, I know you're a punk fan. I'm assuming you're a punk fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Got that at the recent Damned concert.
Yes.
Before poor Captain Sensible fell off the stage in Toronto, luckily.
Yes.
But after Dave Vanian had injured his arms, he was one-armed at the time.
Yeah, very nice.
It was an awesome concert.
No, it was. No, concerts are amazing. Somehow you mosh pit kind of person, or you're more in the back these days?
I kind of sit at the edge of the mosh pit and elbow people who flail into me too much.
I could see that. I still enjoy a mosh pit from time to time myself. They're fun. Yeah. It's interesting because there's an etiquette to it, and it's really fun. You can bash and bang all you want, but the moment someone falls, everybody just stops. Oh no, get you up.
Yeah.
I think the weirdest thing I've ever seen at a concert is, this body surfing, and all of a sudden I get hit in the head with a wheel. I'm seeing a guy in a wheelchair just getting body surfed. I was like, unbelievable. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it's part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
So puncture jam or any kind of concert?
Punk, alternative, heavy. Yeah, I'd say probably. I played in a band, several bands back in the 90s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Same genres?
Yeah, it was sort of punk alternative.
Got any albums from that time?
We do have a CD that we put together, but yeah.
You still play it?
Do I play the CD?
Yeah. It's one of those things. Because it's one of those things. Is like, I'm assuming you still play it as a hobby from time to time.
Very seldom.
Yeah.
Very seldom.
Time issues more than anything else. More than anything else. But I'm sure when you listen, you're like, I was really, really good back then, or what was I?
It alternates. Sometimes you listen to a song, it's like, ooh, I don't want to hear that again. And sometimes it's like, hey, that's really good.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of like your writing too.
Yeah.
When you go back to something you wrote a long time ago, it's like, oh, that's not bad. Or else, ooh.
That's like cringe. Hey, that's pretty good. Cringe. It's like, I was brave SOB back then. Holy cow! Yeah, it's that. No, I think it's a big part of like art, not just writing, but art in general. Is we grow as people, and as we grow as people, we can present more to our mediums of choice, whatever they may be. So.
And your tastes change.
Yeah.
That's why I have no tattoos, because I know my tastes would change.
I have no tattoos because I figure it's also the most rebellious thing you can do today. But because everybody's got tattoos today. It's one of those things where I just look at it and go, don't get me wrong, I used to be a bigger stickler for it back when I was younger. Part of my upbringing is part of that, but as I got older, it's like, whatever. I've always but this part has never really changed. I've always believed that people express themselves no matter what. And if you pay attention to the person, you can figure out everything about them without ever needing a tattoo to symbolize a particular moment in time. It's all there, whether they tattoo it or not. And I've always had that. I've always had that. Now again, some people feel that need to express themselves in a tattoo, and I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I'm not ever gonna. At this point in my life, it's like, whatever. You're gonna do whatever you want.
I love tattoos. I love tattoos on other people.
Yeah.
I just know that I would, in 5 years' time, hate whatever I got. So.
You'd have this like awesome skull, and you'd be looking at it one day. This is hideous.
And I feel that way about my artwork, like my own artwork. I just do not like.
What artwork? Like drawing or painting?
Drawing.
Yeah. What do you like pencils? Like just pencils?
Well, I actually illustrate.
Oh, really?
I do some. I illustrate my own. Like I do the pencil. I'm not on that page, but so that's
really cool.
And then for the novel, I actually, because some of my stuff had been penciled and some was inked, and I didn't have time to ink it all, so I got Mel to do all the inks over top of my pencils for this one.
So that's that. Oh, cool. So you have almost like a comic book style art in there.
A little bit.
But yeah.
I got my, I did a lot with comic books. I started at Cartoon Centre in London.
Oh, wow.
With David Lloyd, V for Vendetta, Dougie Braithwaite, Punisher. So.
Did you do any 2099 stuff?
No.
Yeah.
No, I was just taking classes, doing.
Oh, okay.
Doing life drawing classes there, doing comic art stuff. So, and I did sort of, I did a lot of comic book drawing, which I never published. I put that away for a long time. But when I figured out we're going to do illustration, that I decided that I would draw. And I do have one comic in issue 4 that I did. Actually, I did a comic to a friend's poem.
That's really cool.
So
you're like a Renaissance woman there.
I am,
yes.
I am, and I'm also a sword fighter, and I teach mounted combat. So it's like I cannot just do one thing.
No, actually, I find that this is what happens with all of us. Like, okay, I write a podcast. I do a few. I'm dabbling more on the technical side of things because to me that's fascinating because the mediums are changing. So I figure it's just a good idea to learn about them, but they're really cool. And also, I find when you practice multiple disciplines, I find like my writing's better. I find that like anything I apply, just for whatever reason, it just adds something to what you're doing. Do the same thing with you, kind of?
Oh yeah. Like everything, feeds into
Yeah, absolutely is into the ether.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Jen, I think we have a good interview here.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think we do.
Well, I had fun.
Yes, that's the important part. I mean, we got to talk about beer and people in wheelchairs in mosh pits. I mean, that's not an interview. I don't know what it is. So this is what I'm gonna have you do. I'm gonna have you talk about your book first.
Okay.
All right, then talk about your magazine a little bit, just to let people know what it is and how to access it, and then how people can find you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So my book is Elenia's Song Overture. It's a story about mothers, daughters, and sort of the lies and secrets between them, set in a high fantasy setting where music becomes magic. It is roughly 400 pages long, and it can be found on Amazon through CreateSpace. It can also be found through Pulp Literature Press. So it's pulpliterature.com on the website. Likewise, Pulp Literature Magazine is quarterly, comes out seasonally, and is available on the website pulpliterature.com and also on Amazon.
Okay, and how to contact you?
How to contact me through the website.
Just through the website, no Twitter, no Facebook, nothing?
Oh, you can find me JM Landels on Twitter.
Okay.
And also on Facebook.
All right, fair enough. And listening to this, I just realized how much of a badass JM Landels really is. Yeah, check out her stuff. Pulp Literature Magazine is really, really good. I got the issue. I got a really cool issue. Like I said, I love the format. I just love I love the fact that a magazine like this exists. It's phenomenal. And I really, really dug the illustrations in Elena's song. So she might hate her stuff, but I certainly don't. So check her out and check the magazine out. We need more magazines like this in literature, period. Not just Canadian, but in literature, period. And that will do it for another episode of Just Joshing. So, as you can tell, you can support the podcast in a number of different ways. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can do so at Podomatic, or you can do so through iTunes. You can buy my books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, The Wandering God. They're all available. The Wandering God's available for pre-order as we speak. Leave comments, reviews. Very soon I'll be announcing my first contest for The Wandering God. That'll probably be next episode, actually, which will be really, 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 really cool. Beyond all that, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at Joshua Pentelresco. Previous Just Joshing episodes have been out. Tomorrow night, I'm probably going to be updating with some more new episodes from the previous run as well, which will be really cool. Beyond that, yeah, that'll do it. So, do your best. Stay inspired. No excuses. You don't have time for excuses. You will do whatever it is you want to do, one way or the other. So don't excuse it. Own it. All right? All right. See you next time.
Josh.